Manchester United have got to win against Brentford on Saturday. There are no two ways about it. After a dismal start to the season, the only thing that changes that momentum is wins. And Erik ten Hag needs that momentum shift before the international break. I think in order for that to happen, there's going to have to be probably some personnel changes. And also, I would say more importantly, some tactical tweaks. Not like throw out a system and bring in a new one, but tactical tweaks in how we approach the game, what happens after we score, and a few more things. Let me run through it in this video. I'll run through my 11, my prediction, all that jazz. You can let me know what you think in the comments below, as you always do. But Brentford this season, they are struggling. Brentford are struggling. We take a look at the Premier League table. We can see they're down there at 14th. They are below Manchester United. They haven't won a game in the last 5. Brentford are struggling. Their last game was against Nottingham Forest, a 1-1 draw there. Without Ivan Toney, without a pure number 9, they are struggling to score. I was saying that they've still scored 3 more goals than Manchester United this season. Oh dear, oh dear. But Brentford, look, this is a winnable game. However, if Manchester United don't make tactical tweaks, I don't know whether we're going to win this game. This was the team that played against Galatasaray in midweek, and I'm going to run through some problems that I saw in it. But first of all, I want to sort of point this out. This was the tactical shape of Manchester United's team just as Zaha scored. It was that pass that was long through to Zaha that led to the goal. Manchester United getting pulled to one side. Dalot not covering the space, covering the player. Ball went over the top, and we know what happened after this. I don't need to run through that for you, all right? It was just poor from Manchester United. And add on top of that, what we saw here for the second goal, right? Amrabat, I've covered this in the live show this morning. Amrabat really running aggressively to cover that space because everybody was kind of man marking, which is a little bit like Dalot there. Now, I think there are some key changes that need to happen in this game. Now, one change I do not think will happen is the goalkeeper. Now, there's going to be United fans here. They're going, Erik ten Hag, he's got to, when players are playing out of form, they should be dropped. And I agree with that. But when it comes to a new player at a club who's been there for 9 games so far, Erik ten Hag is not just going to drop him from the team at this point. I don't think so anyway. And I don't think he should. Not with Onana. Onana is significantly better than what we are seeing right now. And I think it's just a bit indicative of a player who doesn't have confidence in a defence, which doesn't have confidence behind a midfield, which doesn't have confidence behind an attack, which, spoiler alert, doesn't have confidence. Now, throwing a new goalkeeper in that is not going to change that situation. It's about making this team more compact. And that, for me, is the biggest thing I think to change. Without changing any players here, I want to see Manchester United switch to more of this shape. And I'll explain exactly why. I want us to have a double pivot against Brentford, and I want us to have a singular number 10. Now, whether or not Reguilón comes back into this team will probably change how confident we can be going into this Brentford game. Because if Reguilón's back in the team, the change is very simple, right? Amrabat goes into midfield, Reguilón goes into that left back slot. But if he's not available, I think there's still a change that needs to happen. And I can't believe we're at this. No matter how you set this Manchester United defence up with the current options that we've got, it's a risk. It's not ideal. But I genuinely think you could and probably should be looking at maybe Lindelof playing as a fullback and Harry Maguire coming in as a centre-back. We are running off fumes at this moment in time. But the one thing that I know we need in this game is this man in central defensive midfield. That, for me, is a given. So anything else has to work around that. At this moment in time, Erik ten Hag has been playing him at left back because he played there before for Utrecht, so technically he can do it again. In the first game against Palace, when he was drifting inside, it worked. And that's where Amrabat's best moments so far for United have come, is when he's drifted centrally. So I think what we need to see is Casemiro go over to that side, Amrabat drift in, and it might be Dalot over there, but it strikes me that this is what I would kind of, it's not that what I want to see, but in current context, and that's important here. This is not a formation or a style or anything that I think Ten Hag should be using in the long term. But in the short term, given what's happened, what's happening with confidence, with injuries, with everything, we need to shore it up. And that's why I'm switching it to this. And if Manchester United can get Amrabat and Casemiro to play in midfield together in a pivot, then I think Amrabat will probably drop into these spaces here to help with Lindelof, to help cover those spaces. I think you'll see him dropping in there, like doubling up. That's why I think maybe playing Lindelof, because technically you could play Delo over there and maybe Lindelof as a right back, so it's on his natural foot. And maybe Erik Ten Hag would prefer that, in fact, because Delo can play left back. We know he can play left back. He played there against Arsenal. He's played there quite a few times. So maybe it would be Lindelof playing on his natural foot and Delo, because Delo playing as the inverted left back is actually quite good. But no matter what it is, Amrabat has to play in midfield. And I'll tell you what if I was Ten Hag, I would be giving a serious instruction like, Casemiro, dude, hold your position. Do not run forward, drift forward, get involved. No. In this game, Casemiro, you are part of a double pivot midfield and you are sitting in front and protecting that back four, because this back four needs protection. All right? We're conceding too many goals. We're conceding too many chances. Having Amrabat and Casemiro there together is what shores that up. And then United can do this. All right? And look, this is not ideal. Okay? But this is a needs must. Crisis management. That's why I'm switching it up. It's not a huge tactical tweak, but it's a tactical tweak that I think we need in this game. Because then you can see this is what United should and could be sort of lining up like. We're going to drop deeper. We are going to drop deeper. It's a less proactive style and more reactive style to the situation that's going on. I actually think Mason Mount in these last couple of games, it seems like he's found a bit of a... It feels like he's found his position. Saying that, it's been in the number 10 role, really. And Bruno's been, well, certainly the last game against Galatasaray, Bruno's kind of shifted a little bit wide. I think Mason Mount should keep his position there, because Mason Mount can then be the runner. Look, we'd then have Hannibal to come on if he needed to, and we needed extra legs in there. And technically, he could come off Casemiro, and Amrabat could really drop in and then become the single pivot, which is kind of what Erik Ten Hag was working towards. But Mason Mount, I think, quietly has been quite good these last few games. But yeah, we need Amrabat in midfield. If that means that Lindelof is going to play as a fullback, well, it's just a risk we're going to have to take. In the same way that playing Amrabat as a fullback is a risk that's been exposed in these last couple of games. All right? Amrabat needs to play in the middle. That gives Casemiro a little bit more legs alongside him. But Casemiro, use your noggin, dude. I don't care that you can contribute the most goals for us this season. It's the worst start we've had since '89, so it's not working. Casemiro has to sit and hold and be like Casemiro was at Real Madrid. That's what I want Ten Hag to be telling him. Now, in terms of the front three, of course, there's still questions about Rashford. Fantastic assist for Rasmus Højlund. His confidence clearly isn't there. That's why he didn't take that shot on. But in this system, hey, look, you can play Garnacho there if you want. Oh, wrong thing. What is that? No. Rashford. I'm going to play Rashford there. Because it still feels to me like Garnacho is a man who I would rather have as the impact sub in the last 30 minutes. Garnacho's partner's just had a baby. Do you get paternity leave? I imagine he's on paternity leave then. I didn't even think about that. But surely he's on paternity leave. So Garnacho probably wouldn't even start this game. Or I don't know. I randomly just crossed my mind, actually. But Rashford, in this system, right, as I said, this is a system that doesn't really play towards Manchester United's strengths, but it shores up the weaknesses that we've got, and that's the switch. We're not playing to our strengths. We currently don't have many strengths. We have a defence who's out of form and no confidence. We've got a goalkeeper with no confidence. We've got a midfield who can't play together, and there's too many spaces in between, and that's why I'm playing compact here. We need this. We need these spaces here to be covered. We need these spaces here to be covered. We need them to be as small as possible between the lines. Therefore, you don't get players dropping into the half spaces, and you get more of the triangles working together. That's what we need to see from this team against Brentford. Don't give them the space. Don't give them the space to exploit. And this man, of course, is well, he's the shining light there, the positivity from the positivity from that Galatasaray game. I want to see him on the counter-attack there. This team is set up to counter-attack. This team is set up there to soak up pressure, and hit on the counter. It's not ideal. Bruno playing out wide, it's not particularly ideal, but I think him there in that position and Rasmus making those runs, you're going to see Bruno probably drop into these positions there, and that's where Brentford play with a high line like this, right? They're pushing aggressively up the pitch. And then Højlund can be in these sorts of areas with Bruno, and then Bruno can find that ball. You know, one of those whip balls around the corner, and then Højlund runs onto it. That's what I want to see in an ideal world against Brentford. I want to see United staying compact. I want to see United staying in shape. And that's why I think playing with a double pivot, bringing Amrabat central, look, take the risk with Lindelof playing left back or right back. It's a risk we've got to do because we need changes. I think if we go in the same mentality and approach that we have in these last few games, it's going to be a similar result. Go in like that, and I think we can beat Brentford. Of course we can beat Brentford. As I said, look at Brentford so far this season, man. What have they got? They've won 1 game in 7. One. They don't have Ivan Toney up front. They're struggling. And Buemo's going to definitely be their danger man. I'm predicting a 3-1 to United if we can just be smarter out of possession. Don't concede as much space. Don't concede as many chances. And you won't give the opposition the ability to beat you. All right? That's what we need in this game. This is a crisis management sort of switch. This is not how United are going to be setting up on a permanent basis. But hell, with everything that's going on right now, with all the injuries that's going on right now, needs must. And that formation, that team, and that style of play, it needs must from me. And I think if we do that, we'll get the win. You let me know what you think in the comments below. Massive game for United this. For all the wrong reasons, but a massive game before the international break. It's got to be a win. Because 2 weeks to let it fester after losing against Palace, Galatasaray and Brentford, that will be savage.